have a busy little piece of news here tonight with the UFO reports. Some juice and some controversy and a little bit
Yeah.
of dabbling into the UFOs. I'll tell you, this is kind of interesting stuff tonight. Good, I can't wait to get into this with you, John.
Yeah, this is pretty trippy stuff, especially because the ebb and flow of news in this arena is part of it's natural, but part of it's artificial, and so you end up with some very weird patterns that can create some very weird situations. So it's always interesting when you have these collision of stories that are like, wow, like this is this gets kind of heavy.
Well, let's get into the absence of sound. This came from Hal Putoff.
Correct.
Now, before we get started, for our radio listeners out there, explain to them who Hal Putoff is.
How Putoff is a smoking man. If you all watched X-Files, he runs everything. He's the puppet master. No, I hope I'm kidding. I really hope I'm kidding. Hal, please don't be that. Hal Putoff is a brilliant physicist who started his career working on lasers, and however, after doing that, he ventured more into parapsychology, working at the oh my goodness, I live really close to it too. What's the name of the institute he worked at with Inga Swan and everybody? I can't remember. Anyway, the guy has been around forever. He is very controversial because of the work he's done in parapsychology. He's very controversial because of the fact that he dabbled in Christian Science, or is that right? No, Scientology. And so he's not a flawless figure, but he's a very, very good physicist. He's a very, very good researcher. He's a very, very good source, and he basically is a voice that a lot of people listen to very closely.
Okay, so thank you for the breakdown of that. Now, how does he kind of get into the aspect of silence during encounters?
Okay, so Hal Putoff is in a position where he is often in consulting roles in many different aspects, and so therefore he has a good understanding of the breadth of feature sets that come to encounters, and once you start being able to detect patterns in that, that's when things start getting super duper duper interesting. And so basically what he's doing here is Hal's throwing breadcrumbs. He's basically saying, hey, look, I know some of you have reported that during certain aspects of an encounter, all the sound seems to get like sucked out of the air, and it's like this very weird effect that seems to happen. And he basically says, look, this is not unusual, and explains a case on his own, and explains how common it is, explains a hypothesis for how it works. And so is it important that we're talking about the fact that sound gets removed during certain encounters? Actually, it could be, because of how it might be happening. How it might be happening could actually be a physics-based reason, which could explain some things, but it doesn't have to be the main point of the interest, because of the fact that what we really need is more of these kind of data points that are seen across multiple encounters, so that we can all start growing some instincts and some feeling for what's real, what's not, and why it's happening.
There are so many aspects to silence, John, that just absolutely intrigue me. I know when I had my first experience with my mother, everything else around that situation was silence.
Now, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Have you, because especially because your background in what you've done, have you ever been in a soundproofed room, like a really, really soundproofed room?
Yes.
Did you get motion sick?
No. The room I was in was radio studios.
Okay, so the room I was in was for building spy satellites. So like
Right.
the cones coming out of the wall were like, it was crazy. They were like 2 feet or 3 feet long. It was nuts. Like you went in there and like it actually affected the way you heard your own voice in your head. And it made most people nauseous, dizzy. Some people couldn't walk. I mean, it was freaking hilarious. I couldn't believe it. But the only reason why I'm asking is, regardless of the level, because I'm sure the recording studio ones are actually quite offsetting to some people as well. All I'm asking is, were there any similarities between the effects that you remember feeling in one of those rooms and the lack of sound that you experienced during? Are there any commonalities, or is it a different kind of sound absorption?
You know what? I think it's probably a different kind. I don't ever recall that, because there is, when you go into the soundproof studio, okay, there is noise in there. The noise from the,
Right.
like if you shut everything off, it would be soundproof.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you go
Yeah.
into a radio studio, your attention is focused on the job at hand, right? Your
Yeah,
voice
right.
does, I should say this, your voice does sound different.
Okay, and so maybe that would be a tell, and that's the thing is it depending on what happens, it might not be good enough to just say, hey, what did the ambient room sound like in the two situations? It might be better to ask questions like, well, did you speak in both events? Okay, how did your voice sound in both events? That might be a better thing to compare them to. You never know, and that's why it's so important this stuff gets studied by an outsider that can take an unbiased look at it.
Right, right. So the point that I'm getting at is, a lot of people say that when these experimentations or anything comes along, John, that there is silence all around them. Whether it's, going into a forest with cryptids and all of a sudden everything goes quiet. The
Mm-hmm.
birds stop chirping, the crickets stop yelping or chirping as well. The frogs and toads stop. Everything goes silent. So, is there a tie, according to Dr. Putoff, that when this silence happens, we can expect some sort of supernatural paranormal phenomena to happen?
Well, what's really interesting is that where he kind of makes a distinction is that what you're describing can also be explained by being in a loud part of the forest where a predator shows up, right? Where essentially the noise doesn't actually, the way noise is being carried through the air doesn't change, but the number of objects generating sound waves does, right? And so that's the scenario you're
Correct.
describing. This seems to be more of a situation where, and one of Dr. Hal Putoff's hypotheses is that essentially you're seeing a shift. Oh boy, I'm gonna get shot for saying this. Very loosely akin to like a red shift that you would see, but basically this idea that there's this shift in, and so it might be shifting the sound into an ultra frequency or some other frequency that you can't hear. And so in this case, it's a sphered area where it doesn't matter how much sound gets created in there, it's not going to go anywhere. The sound's not getting to your ears. It's the sound is being absorbed, or it's just not traveling. It's somehow being like suppressed. But I don't think we have enough information to really tell the difference between the two cases in every environment, because most cases we're not looking that closely.
Right. Right. All right. Let's move on to topic number 2 here. And let me just pull it up here with amnesty. What are you talking about with amnesty and Lou Elizondo?
So, I know, I've talked about this at least once, if not twice already. So I do apologize for those who are hearing it again, but it's too exciting and it's too important, so you guys got to listen to it again for the 10 or 15 of you that heard it before. Lou Elizondo, who you all know and love, during one of his many speaking engagements over the last week, and I just realized that I don't actually have the specific event this was taken from in front of me, so I do apologize. But essentially what he discussed is the idea that a lot of us have talked about for a while, which is this idea of amnesty, this idea of offering people that know things, that are held by their NDAs, or held by their oaths, or held by their positions, their pensions, their all their things, right? To basically offer them amnesty, but to not offer them a permanent amnesty. What he is suggesting is that we offer a limited amnesty. We offer a 6-month amnesty, for example, where essentially people would be freed to, and it's not necessarily that you are, I mean, he didn't get into specifics, but I don't know if it's necessarily safe to say that we're saying that anyone is free from crimes they committed. It's more that we're saying that you're free from prosecution from telling your story, right? You're free from prosecution from what you did while you were in those roles. So I guess it would cover some things, but the point is that it's giving people 6 months to get out from under that cloak and essentially share their story. And as a follow-up to it, what he adds is that then there would also be the aspect to say that, if that 6-month window ends and you did not decide to share your story, and it turns out that the lacking of you sharing that story has caused some harm, we'll find you. Not too short on the point. Which, it was, and the thing is that I, is this going to happen? My instinct is that if it doesn't, everything changes. That basically a significant path in world history is dependent on it. Does it change everything if it doesn't? No, but it changes a lot. So I'm still hoping, but I like the fact that Elizondo is talking about it in a very public forum. And I also really, really like the fact that he's modifying a lot of what he's heard from other people and saying, well, what if we change it this way? What if we adapt it this way? What if we modify it this way to try to find a way that we can do amnesty that's perhaps more appealing to people? I mean, you have to accommodate everyone's concerns.
Well, we're going to get more into the amnesty side of everything, and then we're going to get into false identities on social media. What is this all about? The Unbiased UFO report with the fedora-wearing Jon Hudson continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. How many profiles do you have on Twitter or Instagram or whatever? We'll find out. Spaced Out Radio continues after this. We're clear.
I'm trying to count.
Yeah. You're an ill individual. The unknown, I just got it. Let me take a little peeky here. Hold on. Let's just see something here.
I advise.
Perhaps we need some spaced out radio. I sometimes think how quickly our differences would be resolved if we all listened to Dave Scott.
Where'd that come from? That was awesome.
The unknown sent that to me. Thank you, buddy.
That was hilarious.
Oh, we got to play that. We got to play that one more time here. Hold on. We got to play that one more time. Let me bring it on up here. Oh shoot! I hate that when I click off the whole download thing. Here.
Oh, and Dave, I just realized I forgot to change my name. So
that's okay.
Yeah, that was the thing we were having fun with on the weekend.
Hold on here.
Perhaps we need some spaced out radio. I sometimes think how quickly our differences would be resolved if we all listened to Dave Scott.
God, that's good. That's awesome. So good.
That is awesome. That is really funny. That's good. That is really good.
That is amazing. Amazing. Oh, I wish I knew how to do that. That is hilarious. Yeah, thanks, Ronnie from the heavens. I appreciate that. No, I am not wearing a man bun. I got my hair pulled back tonight. Why the minute you pull your hair back do people automatically say, man bun! Man bun! No.
Actually, Dave, they only do it for you because you have such a big issue with it.
Men who wear man buns are a number of things. Number one, they don't know how to change oil in a car or put oil in. Number two, they roll up their own skin. They roll up their pant legs. and then wear Converse Chucks, low riding Chucks with it. Number 3, they like soccer. They think it's a legitimate sport, which it's not. Number 4, they can actually talk what is the language in a coffee shop.
Hi, Jessica.
Number 5,
here you go.
they have a lumberjack beard and wear plaid, thinking that they're a lumberjack, but have never used a chainsaw or an axe before. Number 6, they don't know how to change a tire on a car.
You know, they also tend to be around here. They tend to be extremely well paid, driving Teslas around with more money than they know what to do with.
Teslas don't impress me.
No, what I'm saying is when you see one of these, it's a sight. It's just, it's just something.
They're the kind of people who wear baseball caps with a flat brim, sitting just gently on top of their head.
That's even touchy for me. Wait a second. What do you have against Teslas?
Nothing. I don't think.
Don't get me wrong. I think they're very common looking at. I think they're very plain, but they're. Have you driven one?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
It was weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't hear the engine.
Oh, you are like probably the 30th or something person who I've been able to ask what was your first experience, and you're the first person that hasn't immediately jumped to the acceleration.
Yeah, I also
and pretty much only talked about the acceleration.
I also have driven a Mustang Mach-E. Electric.
Yeah, which I had to look up. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Gentlemen who wear man buns use the word ergo a lot to try and impress people. They only drink pale ale.
Ergo is actually, you can wait for a long time for an appropriate place to use that word. Sad. Years even.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You might have to wait until you somehow get involved in like a theater play or something.
Man bun people also have every CD of Coldplay in their car.
And Michael Bolton.
They only buy Asian cars like Honda, Toyota, Kia because they don't believe in the North American product. Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with the fedora-wearing Jon Hudson and the Unbiased UFO Report. Mr. John, how you doing?
Doing good, Dave. Doing good. How about you?
I am good. I am very good, my friend. And right before the break, we were talking
about your man bun.
No, that was during the break, and I'm not wearing a man bun. I don't own a Coldplay CD. I don't drink IPAs. I don't like soccer.
My bad.
Okay.
Please go on.
Now you're going to get me on a roll here. All right? All right? Mm-hmm.
Amnesty.
I don't use the word hence.
Amnesty.
Right. Amnesty for UFO whistleblowers. Is it possible? Is it not? Lou Elizondo would never wear a man bun. Sean Cahill does not wear a man bun. He pulls it
Okay.
back. Does not wear a man bun. All right, move on. Move on here. What do we got going on? Do you really think that there should be amnesty for those who whistleblow on UFOs?
Oh boy. Yeah, I honestly, this whole topic confuses me to no end. Like, I'm kind of in awe that anyone is against it. I mean, the thing is that, like, all you ever hear from anyone is usually everyone should become a whistleblower. But what are you saying, that it's only cool to be a whistleblower if you suffer for it? Are you saying it's only good to be a whistleblower if you go to jail for it? Like, are you saying it's only good to be? I mean, like, what is that? Like, how can you be for whistleblowers and not for amnesty, right? Like, I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And fundamentally, I don't understand how anyone thought, like, there's so many people think that the choice, that sharing the information that you have is like this simple choice, like it's this simple, like, just, oh, I could do it, and they don't realize the ramifications that exist for some of these people, and how much harm can come to not only them but their families, their grandkids. And so, the idea that you would, that not only should you offer amnesty, I've always felt that it's the only path, that there's no other way to it. Like, unless you don't want to care about the past, if you want to just move forward, then you don't need to. But if you want the past, you have to offer amnesty. Whether you offer it for a week, a month, 6 months, 10 years, I don't care. But you have to offer it, because the thing is that these contracts these people signed, they're no joke. You will disappear into a dark, solitary confinement for a long time if you cross the wrong, lines. And those lines are there for a reason. So if you don't offer amnesty, you can't ask anyone to cross those lines.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, more people can come out, a la Elizondo.
Yeah, but how much has he really shared? Him personally?
Well,
very little.
I understand that, but if you had, say, 10 more Elizondos out there, it gives the entire field a lot more gas, rather than putting it all on the shoulders of one guy.
Correct. But the thing is that if I was someone on the inside kind of debating whether I'm going to do this or not, and I now took a look at Elizondo and what's happened to him, I'd be like, oh, whoa, thank you for letting me know, Mr. Elizondo. Good luck. Bye. And I'll go right back into my cave. Right. I mean, he is not any kind of shining example of why you should come out by any means at all.
Well, I think the vitriol and the attacks of people in the UFO community have led to that.
And from the justice, and from the DOD spokesperson, and from his comrades. I don't know. To me, it makes it look incredibly unpleasant, and it's not a good way of encouraging people to do it. Let me put it that way.
His shoes are not comfortable.
No,
no. His shoes are not comfortable whatsoever. Right. Yes, and I feel for the guy. Whether or not you believe Elizondo, that's one story. But the next story is the amount of vitriol and finger pointing that has been put on him, not only from the UFO community is the small part to that. Okay. But the big part is what is happening with the government. All right. I mean, he's not wearing, good shoes when it comes to standing in front of the government. He is not. But if you have 10 or 12 more come out just like him, it sure is going to add a lot more. But I mean, John, it still gets down to what we've been saying on this show for months, well over a year now. This UFO's Pandora's box that is sitting somewhere in the Pentagon, very hidden, probably behind a 14-foot thick steel door with probably
UFO, like 67 individual boxes of different sizes with different amounts in them that all don't know about each other.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, those are the secrets that they will never allow out, anyways. Whether it's Roswell, Phoenix, wherever, any other crash site, they don't want that out.
I don't
They
know,
don't.
Dave. I don't know if I agree, because I think that you got to realize that the reasons why you classify things at the time often make far more sense than they do 30 years later. And so there is a tremendous amount of information out there that I think that people they're not even aware it's been hidden in the first place. And you offer this amnesty, and you're going to have people coming out of the woodworks, people from little offices in the middle of nowhere that are like, well, actually, I've been sitting on this file for 20 years and I didn't know what to do with it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because the thing is, you don't want one person coming out and divulging everything. That's not it. That actually makes problems for us. What you really want is you want lots and lots and lots and lots of people, each coming out with little pieces of it that then come together to a story that actually starts to make sense because it's organic.
We will agree to disagree on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's right. I don't think they should risk their lives for it. I would love to see another 10, 12 Elizondos. Hell, even I would like to see another 2. 1. Let's start with 1.
But you would want amnesty.
No.
Oh, you don't want amnesty.
No, because I think no matter what, it's going to get put some people in a bad predicament. And I think it's a pipe dream. I'm just trying to be realistic here. I think it's
Sure.
pipe dream, right? So let's move on. Sticking with Lou Elizondo on UCR, and now he's getting kind of grilled on Twitter over this. Lou Elizondo admitted to using an alternative account. What is this about dummy accounts?
So I felt I had to bring this up. I didn't really want to, but I felt I had to bring this up because some people are talking about it, and it's one of those issues that that for a large portion of the population, it's completely normal behavior, and for all these other groups, it's not. And when they notice it, they like freak out, and then you have to once again calm them down and explain to them why it's done and why you wouldn't want to do it any other way and all this stuff. And it's like, and it's another situation like that to me, because essentially what's happening is that there's all these people trying to use the fact that Elizondo admitted to using alternate accounts as some kind of indication that Elizondo is nefarious, that he's dishonest, that he's this and he's that and he's this and it's that. It's like, my God, I mean, like I recommend to everybody when they start using it, you want multiple accounts for so many reasons. One of your accounts gets controlled. You're concerned about how you're being treated. Go in with a different handle and a different profile and see if you get treated differently. It's a really good social engineering test to see what kind of ethics are going on in that group. There's so many benefits to it. There's legal reasons to do it. There's true actual counterintelligence operations that can occur that actually gain actionable legal information that can be done. There's all sorts of reasons to do it. In a lot of cases, it's just because people just want to be able to have an official account and an account where they can just goof off with, right? But unfortunately, because of the fact that there are people that don't realize how many people do this, when they hear Elizondo say that he does it, or he did it, or he used one from one case, they blow it up and they make a big deal out of it. And I think it's really unfortunate.
Rather be squidding from the Unidentified Celebrity Review tweeted out, it's disappointing that everyone's hero on one side is actively using sock puppet accounts and stoking division. Well, I don't think it is stoking division. All right. I know many people, especially famous people, who cannot say what they want on social media.
Exactly.
And I don't have a problem with this. I really don't. Now, I will profess this. I've never had a sock account. I have 2 Twitter accounts. okay, which is at Spaced Out Radio, and at Dave Scott SOR, which is my personal one. I don't have enough time to have that other account. I really don't. I've thought about it because there's a lot of things that I would like to do or say that may not be in the best interest of Spaced Out Radio. Now, when I say that, let me clarify, okay? Because there's a lot of stuff that's been happening politically in Canada that I would like to vent, but I've chosen not to because I'm the type of guy who will get accounts. I'm confusing that way, where I will say one thing politically, and the next thing you know, I accidentally put it out on an SOR account, and I'm like, oh, kicking my butt about it later because I'm silly that way. I'm not in control that way, so it doesn't work for me, right? So I just bite my tongue. I'm one of the bite my tongue type of citizens out there. But you know what? Hey, Elizondo has every right to have a sock puppet account. Almost everybody on UFO Twitter has sock puppet accounts. They do.
Yeah, and the thing I really think we have to be careful, like how we cage these. I think even the term sock puppet, they're just alternate accounts. That's all they are. They're just alternate accounts. You could make any one of those accounts your primary account, right? That's all they are. This is alternate accounts. It's like, I don't understand all just the negative connotations to it. Like, it's weird. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, I think for a lot of people that they say, okay, like if you take what Rather Be Squidding is saying, which I don't know if that's his real name or not. Okay. I look at, he says later on in the thread, I only have one Twitter account, and that's this one for his name. Okay, that's fine and dandy. That's who you are. I think the thing is, though, is when you look at a number of accounts out there where you get people with 10, 15 different accounts that are using it for nefarious reasons, it's easy to sit there and say, because of Elizondo's stature, John, that, oh, he's not doing this for the benefit of the UFO community. He is using this to divide. Whereas, you know what? Famous people all the time. I'll give you an example. And I'm sorry, John, I'm going on a little bit of a roll with this.
No, it's all good.
Okay?
Go now, please.
Our chat room right now on YouTube that I am following, I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to read some of the names out here. I'm pretty sure that Space Cow's name is not really Space Cow, or FAP's name is not FAP, or let me see another one here. Al Menial Scientist. I don't think that's his real name. I'm pretty sure the Unknown is not the Unknown's real name. Black Dragon, a great veteran of the U.S. Marines, I don't think his name is Black Dragon. Ye, I don't think Ye's real name is Ye. Right? And I could go on and on. And not World Bigfoot Radio, okay, that's Super Duke Sullivan. Okay, but that World Bigfoot Radio is not his name, right? Nikki, Angels Are Life. That's not her real name. Nikki is. And I use these examples as we don't know, John, we don't know if somebody in our chat room is famous, right? We don't know, right? And the reason why I say that is when you are of a fame and stature, a lot of these people want to be able to blend in with the conversation on a regular level and not using their real name on a star level.
You don't even have to be a real, like, general celebrity in a global view. You can just be a significant figure on social media and want to be able to occasionally behave like a normal person, right? I mean, like, how is that not a reasonable thing to ask, you know?
Right. I mean, look, I have often said to our audience, we got about 4 minutes to go here. We may end up skipping the news because I'm kind of passionate about this. Okay. I have often said to my audience on our after hours show that we do after the radio side is done, I've often said, I wonder if there are any famous people listening to our show that are in our chat room, that they love these topics, but they don't want to come in under their real name because that stuff with the media spreads like wildfire. Spreads like wild. Like, look, there's a lot of celebrities who have seen UFOs or ghosts, whether they're athletes or actors or musicians or writers or whomever. How do we know that they haven't been in our chat room, just hanging out with everybody else?
And even besides that, we all have these primary accounts that are essentially these accounts that we have to kind of manage from a image point of view, not in any kind of significant way, but just in a mindful way that you don't want to like be posting things that are going to get you in trouble or so forth, right? But we all have little fringe like passions, right? It might be a political issue. It might be a save the white snow owl. I don't know what it is, right? It might be something, right? And you should be able to go on to and with that persona and argue those points and talk about how you feel without it having it damage your real world, right? I mean, like that's not deceitful. Now, if I mean, there are ways you can do it where it would be, but it doesn't have to be.
I agree with you. I have zero problem with Elizondo doing that because sometimes people just want to have a normal and participate in a normal conversation. And it doesn't mean that it's always nefarious, that it's always one-sided. Maybe Elizondo's talking to other experiencers just to hear what they have to say or what they've gone through. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios rather than trolling who he doesn't like or trolling other people that don't agree with him. I don't think that would be it at all. He probably just wants to have a position on social media, much like many other famous people out there. He just happens to be the most famous in our community that just wants to be able to see what's happening on social media from a different level. And of course, somebody like him is going to be trounced for it. And I don't think it's necessary because the majority of the trolls out there who are ripping him a new one, they all have multiple profiles. Mm-hmm. We've seen them in our chat room here. Okay.
They exist
trust me.
On the model.
Let me tell you this about any troll online. You speak like you write, and you write like you speak. It's very easy when you learn the way a person speaks and writes, how easy it is to tell who they are. Right? And that's the big one. That is the big one. Right? So no, I don't have an issue with Lou Elizondo doing that at all.
And there are ways you can do it that are creepy. I mean, there are like these people that use them to lunge onto people in these packs of. I mean, there's all sorts of ways you can do it. You can do it badly. We're not saying that they're all clean, but the fundamental nature of it is not the problem. It's how it's used in some fringe cases that are the issue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a topic we could literally discuss all night long. All night long.
Oh, it is a deeply fundamental internet issue. And I can tell you, as I mentioned before, I do internet standards, and we've talked about this at the internet standards level, and it's a huge problem.
Yeah. I mean, if you're like Grandpa Holland in the chat room, I started life as a school teacher, and I totally agree about identifying people. I mean, a teacher is another example. Would you want if you are saying to a certain type of music or genre or whatever, would you really want the parents of your students finding out your personal life? I wouldn't.
Well, I mean, honestly, so much of this is such a charade. I mean, you look at the dark net, right? I mean, that was all based on code that was done by the Naval Offshore Research, right?
We got 5 seconds.
Yeah, and it's a honeypot, right?
You got that right.